So you're thinking about moving to Salt Lake City, Utah in 2024, and you want to know what some of the best things are about actually living in Salt Lake City? Well, that's what I'm going to share with you today, and let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Greg Spackman. I'm with the Living in Salt Lake City channel. If you are thinking about making a move here to the Salt Lake City area in 2024, please reach out to me. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'd love to hear from you and talk all things about the Salt Lake City area. And here we go. So the 7 best things about living in Salt Lake City, Utah. These are coming from someone who's actually not from here. I've lived here almost 3 years now, so I can give you my honest opinion about the different things here. Coming in at number 7 on the list of the best reasons to live in Salt Lake City, Utah is the outdoors. So right now we're in winter time and you're going to be able to go snow skiing, snowboarding, snowmobiling, anything to do with the snow, snowshoeing, just tubing down the mountains, everything that you want to do. We don't have a ton of snow this year so far, although over the next couple of weeks we should get a ton here in January of snow. So that is a huge reason. Hiking, you can hike in the snow. You can hike in the springtime, summertime, fall. Hiking is one of my favorite things about living here in Utah. I absolutely love doing waterfall hikes. There's some great websites that talk about the different waterfall hikes. And then I have another channel where I've done a few of the hikes and recorded some of those. You can go rock climbing. You can go mountain biking. We have some incredible mountain biking once all the snow's melted where you can take the chairlifts up. Backpacking, had that be a huge thing where you can hike a bunch of different peaks that we have here in Utah, or just other backpacking that you can do. Water sports is one of my favorite things about living here in Utah, and that's all the lakes that we have. You can water ski, you can go take your boat out, you can kayak, you can paddleboard, you can tube down rivers. We actually tubed down one of the rivers the first year that we were here for my daughter's birthday. It was amazing. It takes you about 2 to 3 hours to float down the river, and you just grab an inner tube after you take the little bus ride up to the top of the hill. I want to say it was around $30 a person to go do that, but that's amazing. Something you definitely should go do. Pretty much all ages can go do that. But the outdoors is a huge thing. You got 4x4ing, which is my favorite pastime thing to do. And Moab, Utah is here, which is about 3.5-hour drive from the Salt Lake City area. And you can take your side-by-sides or any sort of 4-wheel drive vehicle and just have a blast there. We're going to be coming up on the April East Jeep Safari, and I absolutely love doing that. So just a ton of things that you can do in the outdoors. And the last thing I love doing in the outdoors is to camp. And camping here is really, really cool. So there are a number of places to go. A lot of the campsites fill up early, but they have a ton of ones where you can't register online. You just have to show up first come, first serve. So once you kind of learn that, where to go, or just post online and figure out where you could go, that's awesome as well. Number 6 on my list today is public transportation. And when we relocated here to the Salt Lake City area, I had no idea about the public transportation. My wife had taken, I believe, the train from the airport, or the tracks to the train from the airport when she visited her brother in Kaysville. So she had done it, but never really thought about much about public transportation here. So we have what's called the track system, which is above ground. It's like a light rail type system. We have a red line, a green line, and a blue line that'll get you all over Salt Lake City. So for instance, where I live, I can take the red line in Daybreak and get all the way to Salt Lake City. And that's super cool. So if I didn't want to drive to Salt Lake City, I could take the tracks up there, go do everything around Salt Lake City for the day, and then ride the tracks back. The green line runs from West Valley City to the airport, and then the blue line runs from Draper to Salt Lake City. So you can take the red line and then go to the green line to get to the airport, or the red line and then switch and take the blue line to get to Draper. So I can get all over pretty much the Salt Lake City Metro via the track system, which is awesome. They also have the Front Runner train, and that runs from Ogden, Utah, and has stops in like Roy and Clearfield, Layton, Farmington, and goes all the way down to Provo. So, and there's a ton of different stops along the way, but you can take that front runner train as well. And that thing is super cool. We've seen it, drive by and stuff like that. So the public transportation here in Salt Lake City, Utah is amazing. Coming from everywhere else that I've lived, it's always been pretty crappy. Number 5 is the job market. And that's a great reason for you to be living here in the Salt Lake City area. There are a ton of incredible job opportunities here in the Salt Lake City area. Our unemployment rate sits somewhere around 2.8%, and we're typically in the top, 3 to 5 states in the entire nation as far as job goes. There are just a lot of employers that are here, whether you're looking to hire someone yourself because you run your own small business, or you want to find a place to work, and you got construction jobs, tech jobs. There's a place called Lehigh that's here that's called Silicon Slopes, and there's a ton of tech jobs there. Just a ton of different things that you're going to be able to do here for work. So job opportunities are awesome. The number 4 best reason for living in Salt Lake City, Utah is the ease of travel. So by travel around the country, around the globe, we have 3 interstates that you can get around here, which are pretty cool, and 2 other side roads, which are called Bangerter and Mountain View Corridor. And then we have I-15, which is kind of a U-shaped freeway that'll get you a different way around kind of the Salt Lake City area. And I-80 is another freeway that you're going to be able to take. And then we have the international airport. So the Salt Lake City International Airport is amazing. If you are wanting to fly anywhere and can use the Salt Lake City Airport, it's awesome. It is a really, really nice airport. It's super easy for you to pick people up. They have like a numbering system, and then like an Uber and Lyft area with different number systems. So it's really well set up and designed. So whoever put time and effort into that, they have a cell phone lot that's huge. So if you get there early when you're picking people up, you can just chill in that area. And then when they call you, you're about 30 seconds to a minute drive to be able to pick them up. And so that's super cool. But the airport has some good food options too. They have a pickup sticks, which we can't get anywhere else. They have a Panera Bread that's in there, which is nice. And now we finally have one that we can actually get that's outside of the airport. Flights are typically on time for Salt Lake City, unlike if you were flying through Denver. So one tip I have, if you have the opportunity not to fly through Denver, pick another city and fly somewhere else. Don't go through Denver as one of your connecting flights. The number 3 best reason for living here in Salt Lake City is the mountains. We have gorgeous, beautiful, just awesome mountains to see. Out to the east, you have the Wasatch Mountains. Out to the west, you have the Ochre Mountains. And they look amazing right now with all the snow on them. And then when they don't have the snow, they look awesome as well. So you get 2 different views of the mountains. About half the year it's one, half the year it's the other. One downside I should mention about the mountains is our air will get trapped here, and that causes some poor air quality. So that's not one of the best things to be here, but it causes an inversion layer that's here for a few days or a week or whatever. And then the forest fires that blow smoke in cause some other issues. I think the first year that we were here, we had more bad air quality than the last 2 years. So we'll see how that goes this winter. So far, I haven't seen anything on my phone come up with poor air quality. So that's awesome. But the mountains are amazing, and it just doesn't feel real sometimes when you look at them. Looks like you're kind of looking at them in a snow globe type of feel. The number 2 thing on my list is our friendly people. So I've lived all over the U.S. I think I've lived in 6 states, and I want to say that Salt Lake City area has some of the friendliest people that I've ever seen. Salt Lake City was ranked the 12th happiest city in the USA, so that's awesome. And that was according to USA Today. I read that online. It's not uncommon for people here to wave to you or to say hello to you. So just be friendly back to them if they are. Heck, I was shopping the other day and I was looking at shoes, and this lady started talking to me, and 20 minutes later we're still talking about tons of different things, all about how I got to Utah, how many kids I had, that sort of thing. And I haven't had that in a while where someone just was genuinely friendly and wanting to talk. So that was super nice. The number 1 best thing about living here in Salt Lake City, Utah is our sports teams. While we don't have an NFL team yet, or an NHL team, or an MLB team yet, we do have the Utah Jazz, which are huge here. So if you're a basketball fan, you got them, and they are really, really big here. I remember back as a kid watching Karl Malone and John Stockton play, so that may date me a little bit, but it was awesome, and they were always a good team every year with them. Too bad they never won a championship that I remember. We have the Real Salt Lake, which is an MLS soccer team in Sandy, and we have the Utah Grizzlies, an ECHL hockey team, which I'm definitely going to get tickets here in the next little bit to go watch a game because I want to see how they play and everything, but they are awesome, and I absolutely love ice hockey. It's one of my favorite things. I do play ice hockey as well. There are talks to bring a MLB team here, so maybe we'll see a Major League Baseball team here in the Salt Lake City area. We'll see. As far as an NHL hockey team, they also were talking about the guy who owns the Jazz wants to build a new stadium and wants to be able to bring an NHL hockey team here. So hopefully he can make that happen. I did see somewhere where he said it was in the works, so we'll see if that actually happens. We have the Salt Lake City Bees, which is a AAA baseball team for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, or the LA Angels. They could just go back to being Anaheim Angels. We'll see. But anyhow, we have a AAA baseball team. They're currently in Salt Lake City, but they are moving to Daybreak, Utah, or South Jordan, which will be awesome because then it'll be like 5-minute, 7-minute drive for me to be able to go to a baseball game. And it'll be a much nicer stadium since it'll be brand new. Although we did go to a Bees game and the stadium wasn't so bad, just the area around it isn't all that great. So we'll see. Football, if you are a football fan, you have the University of Utah or BYU that both have good teams typically. This year, the Utah team sucked, and I think it's mainly their quarterback was hurt all year, or I don't even know if he played at all, but they weren't so great this year. They weren't terrible. They just weren't as good as they were. So there really is no shortage of good sports here in the Salt Lake City area. And if you wanted to make a drive down to Vegas, you could watch an NHL team there, and then they're bringing a baseball team as well. And that's, 5.5 hour drive or a short, I don't know, I think it's 45-minute flight. So you can definitely get pro teams flying into Vegas, or you could do a drive to Denver, which is on our list to go do to watch the Colorado Avalanche play. And I wanted to add a bonus thing here to talk about, and that's the weather. So one really cool thing about living here in Salt Lake City is that we get all 4 seasons. We get a real fall where the leaves change, and I've lived elsewhere where the leaves change colors. I think our leaf change colors, or the way that they change and what colors we get to see, are more or better than everywhere else that I've seen. We get a real winter, so if you want to be able to do the outdoor sports, skiing, snowboarding, all of that, we have the best snow on earth here in Utah. So you get that. Springtime, it's just really, really nice, and summer is amazing. I really love the summers here, even when it gets a little hot, because 7, 8, 9 p.m. cools off and you can just sit outside and really relax. One thing I like to mention to clients relocating here is make sure that you get good outdoor space. Well, when I lived in Nashville, I didn't really care about outdoor space because it was hot and humid. Here, it's not hot and humid. It's just, nice outside. So having a good outdoor space where you can just sit outside and relax and, have a glass of wine or just a soda or whatever you want to do outside, you can do that. And you can do a little fire pit in your backyard as well. And then the last thing I want to touch on is sunshine. So we're one of the top states in the nation as far as days of sunshine. We get around 222 days a year of sunshine. So it's not gloomy a lot here. And I think that beats the national average by something like 2.5 weeks. So that's pretty cool. And we get some pretty epic sunsets here from the mountains to the west as well. If these 7 things make you wanting more information about living here in the Salt Lake City area, please reach out to me and my team. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and let's talk about getting you moved here to the Salt Lake City area in 2024. And until next time, be rad.